right here full of illicit substances, but I really don't do it all that much. Yeah, I think I'm gonna
We're
get
live
coffee.
now, right?
Yes, we're live now.
Okay, hey!
Oh,
Let's
cool.
get our introductions going. What is up, Gamers Peace? This is Deep Thought Galactic. My name is Mash, and I'll be your simulated host this evening. I'm joined by my amazingly big-brained simulated panel here. Simulated representations of my friends and panelists. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
I'm a random number generator. My name's Sincerely V. I am a United States Marine Corps veteran, having served Iraq, Afghanistan, a Gamer for Peace community member, and member of the FPS team. Really happy to be here in this simulated factorium? Phylactery? And there's so many different, So, simulated panelists, word. I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Oh, is it me now?
Yeah, it's you now.
Oh, my audio
Talk
interface
words
was
about
turned
yourself.
off. I am the Word of Microsoft. You can call me Word, because nobody wants to call me Microsoft, apparently. I am a Army vet. I did my sentence, got out. It was lovely. Was homeless for a little while. The simulation did not treat me well. I am actually a very hardcore nihilist, so this is going to be a very fun conversation for me. Yeah, so without further ado, Mash, say stuff. Not that it matters in the simulation.
Not that anything matters, except
I'm
for
going to
what
go get
matters.
coffee, though.
All right, I'll run us through the intro then, because I'm going to have to talk with my face quite a bit. And if you guys hear chiming in on production, another sultry voice, that is Krabby. She's going to be relaying all your hot takes off the Twitch chat to us, and we're going to be.
I don't exist.
But we don't.
Is that
But
admin?
do any of us really?
Admin?
Admin? And end chat. End chat. We're going to be talking about simulation theory today. I'm sorry I'm hanging up trying to look back at my notes here. Get our bearings. We had some people bow out on us last minute, and we're all kind of struggling to get our feet under us again. We're going to be talking about simulation theory today, guys. The idea that everything around you is not really there. It's not real. It's made up. Just a big computer simulation, kind of like the Matrix. We're all just plugged in somewhere, or we're just data. Who knows? Maybe we don't exist. Throughout history, several influential philosophers from all over the world posited that reality might be false. If we go back to the ancient Greeks, Parmenides, who's referred to in modern times as the father of metaphysics, theorized that all reality is unmoving, made up of the same material, and that all change and movement is simply a lie that's like fed to us by our faulty senses, like that we can't understand reality as it is. In ancient China, we have Zhuangzi or Zhuangzhao and the butterfly dream. In the 4th century BCE, that's before the Common Era, he wrote a text called the Zhuangzi. This was one of like the founding texts of Taoism, and he wrote a poem called the Butterfly Dream. As an FYI, I'm just going over the overview of some of our material that we looked into for this, and then we're going to jump into some questions and start talking about it. So this is Zhuangzhou's butterfly dream. Once Zhuangzhou dreamed he was a butterfly flitting and fluttering about, happy with himself and doing as he pleased. He didn't know that he was Zhuangzhao. Suddenly he woke up and there he was, solid and unmistakable Zhuangzhao. But he didn't know if he was Zhuangzhao who had dreamt he was a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming that he was Zhuangzhao. Between Zhuangzhao and the butterfly, there must be some distinction. This is called the transformation of things. That's from Zhuangzi chapter 2. Right, so already we're looking at two different ancient philosophers, one in ancient Greece, one in ancient China, who posited that reality might not be at all what it seems. We're going to start digging into some questions at this point before we get into like what modern simulation theory is. My first question, Sin, I guess directed at you, and I'll hit word with it when he gets back.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a dream that felt so real that upon waking, you struggled to understand whether what was a dream and what was reality? So go ahead and riddle me this while I get us set up for a drop. I'm gonna go get us some beer over here at the Abyss Bar.
Okay.
So we can match our inebriated state in game, since
Hey.
all of us are a little out of it.
Sounds
Hey,
Yeah.
can I be meta for a second, in the sense of, can we please turn the screen share off, because it's gonna give me a seizure. It's glitching like crazy.
Yes, I can do that. Stand by, and I will try to answer the question while I do this.
Ah. Oh, now I can see your faces in high definition.
Okay.
HD, motherfucker.
Bear with me just a second. So, to answer your question, yes.
Give me 1 second, Sid. Let me let Microsoft. What we're talking about is, have you ever had a dream that you couldn't distinguish between the dream and reality? Like when you woke up, it felt so real that for a moment you didn't know what was what. Have you had the Zhuang Jiao experience, so to speak? Zhuang Jiao experience. It's a good,
Frequently.
great band title.
It is.
We were gonna have Sin was actually in the middle of his answer. I just wanted to fill you in on the question before he started talking. I'm sorry if I just created a conversational three-way collision there.
I don't think you did. So, yes, to answer your question, yes, while I try to fix my...
I am awesome!
I've had a bunch of those experiences. And actually, I had one recently, like, after reading this material, or, like, starting to prepare for this, when
Okay,
we
this
first
is
started
not
talking about
happening.
this being the next Deep Thought Galactic
I
dream.
needed that.
And unfortunately, I can't tell you what the dream was about. But I absolutely woke up and did not know temporally, like, where I was, or what was real or not. So, yes, I can. It's a freaky feeling. For me, it was at least. So that's my short answer. While I also try to fix that.
The memorial.
Try and fix your video. Where do you want to
fallen. Feel free to walk around and pay your
jump in on that
respects.
while I get us launched on this the refinery mission?
Sure. So
Drop
I
sequence initiating.
personally-
Fasten your seatbelts.
I don't remember any of my dreams. However, I have a ridiculous work schedule, so I have to be awake and conscious in the middle of the night multiple times a week. So I do. My sleep schedule is really screwed up, right? So I am in kind of like a not lucid state at all times because of the lack of sleep and how spread out it is.
So you just have no idea what reality is. You think you're dreaming right now.
Yeah, everything. Eventually, everything bleeds together to a point that it's kind of like I just exist and I do things. There's really no distinguishment between one day to another to sleeping and
We've
being
set our
awake.
targets on several deep wells of liquid morkite.
So,
we're sending in a
yes.
refinery for you to fill. Set the whole thing
So
up,
yes.
get it cranking, and let's pump those deposits dry.
It's a real hot
Time to
drop,
build
by
some
the way.
pipelines are off next.
Yes, it is.
Great story.
What hazard are we on?
2, just has 2,
Oh, good.
but the enemies are like lethal enemies or something like that. So bear in mind that like
This is one of my least favorite biomes.
Yup. So I never really, I've never had a dream where, that at least that I remember, I've never had it happen that I had a dream that I couldn't, like distinguish between the dream and reality. But I did have a lot of experience lucid
Pump
dreaming
jack
as a kid.
requested and is
Really?
inbound.
Yeah, I think it was a byproduct of like being an only child in an age before like cell phones existed, right? So I just spent a lot of time just staring out the window. And so I was a big daydreamer, and then I guess that turned into like daydreaming and then falling asleep, and then I was always lucid for it. I didn't realize that lucid dreaming was its own, like had such a big sub-community around it until much later in life. But that's different because you very explicitly know that you're dreaming, like in a lucid dream, right? Like you're kind of guiding your thoughts and the experience. Whereas what we're talking about is the exact opposite. Whereas like, how would you know? Like if you had a dream that was so real, how would you know that you're not experiencing a dream like that right now? which is what they made that very silly movie about, if I'm not mistaken.
The easiest, it's context. That's the only way that you can distinguish between the two.
The game gate is saying that our game sound is super loud.
Thank you, Metagame Gate. Adjusting.
Oh, Sin, where are you?
I got
you-
leeched while I was
Oh
adjusting
boy,
audio.
it's a tentacle.
Yeah, a little
God
warning
dang.
would have been nice before I tried to revive you.
That's
Like,
my
hey,
fault.
buddy, FYI, I just got grabbed by a reverse Sarlacc.
Alright.
Anybody else got anything else to say on dreams specifically? Any other thoughts come to mind with that?
So, would you consider lucid dreaming and like spiritual meditation promote like astral projection and things like that comparable? Like, is it part of the same reality, like the same thing that Zhuang Zhao was illustrating about not being able to distinguish between the dream? Like, I know that it's not the same, but would you consider it
I think it's
maybe
simulation
riding the same
adjacent.
Okay. Okay.
Right? Like, I think it's valuable to add to the discourse here, but I don't think that it's directly related, because specifically, and like, I think the thing that makes it not as important, is the important part, right? Is that in lucid dreaming, in those, like what you just described, you specifically know that it is not is not reality. And what we're talking about is a state of being where you are unaware of what reality is.
Stand clear.
Right?
Hijacking
You're
ground.
in Plato's cave, right? In this what we're discussing, right? In the simulation, we would all be in one big ass cave,
Connect the pipelines
right?
to
The
the
mother of
project
all
and let's get the extraction.
Plato's cave allegories.
Your guys' game audio is still loud, apparently.
Still loud.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, we're getting word that it's hard to hear us.
I can continue to adjust.
I just work here.
He says it sounds better.
Pump jacks launched. Stay
Is
Sweet.
that better?
Thank you, Metagame Gate.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to be doing stuff right now.
Yeah, it's
Alright.
secondary, but important. I got a refinery going up on that first pipeline. Trying to
I
find
got-
the other ones.
I dropped one on another one.
So when
Oh.
the second question we got lined up is when did you first come in contact with the idea of like simulation theory? Like when did you first confront the idea that the reality that you live in may not be reality?
So
Like your experience may not be the truth.
that actually ties into the question that I asked you about, like astral projection and lucid dreaming. Further define that, because if that's simulation adjacent, right? You're writing the same thoughts but in a conscious state, like it's the inversion of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's jacking in, like, and consciously jacking in to the simulation instead of just passively waking up someplace else in the sim, right?
Yeah, like
if-
like Neo at the end of the Matrix.
Yeah, and if lucid dreaming is just like a monkey-brained version of it, of just like the closest our brains can comprehend to it.
If
then-
we are in a simulation, so here's a way to break it down like a computer. If we are in a simulation right now, right, and we are just representatives of data, like living in an ancestral simulation, and we just are experiencing life, but we're data. Think of it as the equivalent of running Doom on like an ATM, or like getting Snake to boot up on another like processor, right? Like we're just running a smaller, more less refined version of the simulation on the computer that is our brains in the game.
So the reason I ask all that for further clarification is because I went through an edgy teen phase when I was
As one does.
yeah, and I started and being in Catholic schools around that time, or having Catholic upbringing, Like my rebellion through religion took me through like esoteric arts and paganism, and not so much paganism, but Wicca specifically for me. And so, if you kind of extrapolate as the spirituality or the understanding, like trying to figure out spirituality through that lens, and the simulation through the lens of that spirituality, then pretty young, like my teenage years, but without understanding the concept of the simulation. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
Yes, it does. Microsoft,
Yes.
I posit to you the same question.
When did I learn that we were in a simulation?
When did you first come in contact with the idea that we're in a simulation? So it doesn't have to be when you became convinced of it. Just when did you first hear this cockamamie idea that we live inside a computer?
Almost definitely the Matrix.
I think that's an answer for a lot of people. I'm going to be honest. Like I think lots of ideas don't reach people until they're a part of pop culture.
Pipeline completed.
And I think the Matrix made simulation theory pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Now, the terminology I didn't really understand until I watched The Matrix. Like I couldn't put a name to it. I was a very big book reader when I was younger, and that is kind of a parallel to simulation theory. The characters in a book only exist as you're reading them, if that makes sense. So there was plenty of conceptual ideology behind it before I saw The Matrix and came to that conclusion. But yeah.
Yeah, so the idea of like things existing only in thought in like a temporary framework, you understood, like you were aware of that, but you didn't think of it as being your reality that you occupy until the Matrix.
Get ready.
Yeah, I would say that's a good summary. I mean, I could elaborate in very strange ways, but in the gist of things, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, honestly, I said the Matrix as well. I remember very specifically there's a scene in the Matrix where they see a cat twice,
Yeah,
right?
that
And
deja
Neo's
vu
like, oh yeah,
explanation.
deja vu. And they're just like,
Morpheus.
oh man, they start freaking out, right? And they're talking about how deja vu is like, you know, it's the simulation messing up. And I, as a kid, like I had deja vu all the time.
Yep.
And every time I had deja vu, I remembered that scene, and it brought back to my like mind this idea that like, oh man, like what if everything is fake? You know, like what if I'm not really here?
Holy
And
crap.
you okay?
Yeah, I just got thrown across the map. Can I comment on what you just said?
Yeah, please.
So I have deja vu very frequently, specifically in dreams. I'm convinced that I'm insane, or it's just kind of like correlation does not equal causation kind of thing. But for the longest time, I can remember a very vague idea of life events that happen because I dreamed about it previous in life. Like it wasn't extremely specific, but it was kind of like deja vu, except very, very specific, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Dreaming
And
about the future.
MetaGameGate says, and I assume they're saying this is their first like introduction to the idea of simulation theory, was Philip K. Dick, who's the author of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Most of us know from the Blade Runner series. The novel itself gets way, like all things, gets a lot more into detail of the dystopian nightmare, and it's a super good read. Glitch. Yeah.
I want to point out another thing that came out in, I think it was '97, Reboot. Remember that CGI cartoon, Saturday morning cartoon?
That was a little before my sentience.
Okay, so it is a cartoon.
I had not woken up from the void yet.
It is a cartoon, a CGI cartoon, in which you follow. Here, actually, I have it up because I was trying to refresh my memory about it. Reboot is a Canadian computer animated TV series that originally aired on YTV from '94 to 2001. It produced, let me see, details of it.
Oh. Okay, that was my
This
time period.
The series follows the adventures of a guardian named Bob and his companions Enzo and Dot Matrix as they work to keep the computer system of the mainframe safe from the viruses and other threats. There was a recent reimagined live-action CGI animated series in 2015. But here's the plot. The series follows the adventures of a guardian named Bob and his companions Enzo and Dot Matrix as they work to keep the computer system of mainframes safe from the viruses known as megabyte and hexadecimal. The setting is in the inner world of a computer system known by its inhabitants as mainframe. It is deliberately chosen due to technological constraints at the time, as the fictional computer world allowed for blocky-looking models and mechanical animation. A recurring plot thread is when the user loads a game, an electrical violent cube lowers onto that part of the city. Anyone trapped inside becomes NPCs, and they have the chance to stop the user. If the user wins, the area is destroyed, and the residents reduced to leech-like creatures called gnolls.
This sounds terrifying.
It was actually really entertaining, but it is a terrifying thing. The main villain in this series is named Megabyte, a command and conquer and infectious computer virus. And the series' main villain, Megabyte, is an order virus. He came from the virus known as Kilobyte and then merged with his sister Hexadecimal, and they formed a virus called the Gigabyte. Everything's set around like.
Wait, is this Scientology?
No, dude, I don't know. I watched this series. Like, I remember as a kid watching this series when it was through like seasons 1 through 3. I watched it, and there were 4 seasons.
Eesh.
Yeah, and it gets really weird, like with the introduction of the internet to their system, and so that now they can go outside their mainframe. It's very simulation theory. That's what it makes me think of simulation theory. Because if they're aware they're inside a computer and that there's a user outside.
Does this series have Gilbert Gottfried as a voice actor? Am I thinking of something else? Because there was a mid to late 90s TV show that had Gilbert Gottfried as like some kind of bird thing. But it was along the same premise.
No, I do not believe so.
Metagame Gate says Scanner Darkly takes another psychotropic twist on simulator theory and the Congress that I think is Cormac McCarthy.
I got nothing on that.
I've heard of Scanner Darkly, and I've not read it.
Yeah. I'm gonna show my ignorance here on that.
Can I make a revision to my earlier statement about the Matrix being my first experience?
Please do.
I will totally admit that it was actually Courage the Cowardly Dog. There was specifically an episode where Muriel gets taken by a virus into their home computer, and they have to like go save her. I think the worm was sick or something.
Does that... I don't know that would count, though, because that's not really you thinking about your own reality being a falsehood generated by, like, some advanced computer program. And that's really more what we're talking about, right? Not whether or not humanity can be reduced to, like, data, or whether or not life can exist within data, but that we specifically, in the world that we inhabit here and now, and everything that you see, feel, touch, is a simulation. That your consciousness is not what you think it is, or what you experience it is.
Okay, I'm trying to multitask and I'm failing at it, so I will acknowledge.
Can I get a...
Oh, no,
quick
I'm just
sit
making
rep?
conversation.
can I get a real quick sit rep? Because I was doing that reading, so I wasn't paying attention to what was going to happen.
In game?
Yeah.
Stay alive.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're staying alive. Staying alive and protecting the oil refinery.
Okay, cool.
I think it's cheating that these bugs can glitch through the actual oil rig and attack me from inside it.
The pipelines are jammed.
Metagame Gate says also Don Quixote inspired a lot of these themes. And I feeling like we got to get Metagame Gate on for Simulation Theory Conversation
Yeah,
2.0 is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Pipeline functional again. However, we still have malfunctions.
Okay, so stepping into the back towards our reality, right? Is there anything that you've seen or experienced or heard about that leads you to believe that we may be in a simulation? Like what either metaphysical or physical phenomena do you see as evidence for us being in a simulation?
Can you say that again?
Like what things either in the physical world or metaphysically, like paradoxes, things like that, lead you to believe, or do you see as evidence of us being in a simulation?
We got bugs, lots of them.
I can start. We talk a little bit about War Puppy posted in the chat about in the Big Brain chat down in our Discord about the plank length. Interesting article about that and how some people are starting to posit and consider the idea that the plank length, which is a length that is extremely small. I've got it pulled up here somewhere, and I can't find it exactly, but I'm going to paraphrase, and it said that one hydrogen atom is 1 trillion Planck length around. Like a single hydrogen atom is 1 trillion Planck lengths. So it's an infinitesimally small measurement. It's the smallest measurement of distance that we have, that we think exists. That there can't be anything smaller than a Planck length. And the assumption, or what people are saying is, or theorizing, is that might be, quote, the pixel of our universe, right? Like that's the lowest point that we can reduce length to, and therefore that's the resolution of our reality.
That is, I can only put that into like television resolution terms, and I know that we're like on like 16K. Like there's
Cargo rocket is returning to orbit.
like
Sending in the drop pod to get you out.
super fucking expensive TVs that are 16K, maybe a little bit, maybe something higher, and
Yeah.
and I can't even imagine like trying to look at a pixel on that, let alone trying to like conceptualize a planet.
1 trillion, 1 trillion Planck lengths across a single hydrogen atom.
Drop pod departing in T-minus 3 minutes.
My brain stops at like an atom. Like I know there's.
Well, you know about quartz.
Yes, I was gonna say like I am aware of them, but I still have trouble conceptualizing the size. Or
That something is smaller. Let's get to the drop pod, gentlemen.
Okay.
Good easy mission, by the way.
Yeah.
Good big brain talk while we're getting some work done.
Yeah, I'm on one of those days of very little sleep, which has turned into my level of higher thinking being highly diminished.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
I'm only good for basic tasks right now, like mining Morkite.
Okay, well, you could think about it for a while, but Sin, I'd like to ask you: is there anything that points to our reality being a simulation in your mind? Is there any factoid or anything you've read about or heard about that makes you think that maybe we're in a simulation?
The fact that Neil deGrasse Tyson made a TikTok about it and responding to it and saying that he kind of sort of believes in it.
So yours is an appeal to authority. There's
Yeah, I'm
people
gonna go-
smarter than you saying
There
maybe.
are
So
people smarter, but like, I don't know.
Hey, do we want to go for the secondary objective, or are we just bailing?
I have to go for like,
Oh.
I think
I think we're just bailing.
fail. I believe in it. Like, I do believe in simulation theory. I in some sense, because I believe in the multiverse, and like I come from like this like weird optimistic standpoint of it, that like post-humanity, like I had to start my education on this topic with like learning about dualism and monism, and just reading a smallest blurb about the mind-body paradox connection.
Yeah, I was absolutely trying to avoid, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you saw that in the write-up, because
Yeah.
the mind body problem is such a huge thing in and of itself, and we're gonna definitely get into some Philip K. Dick stuff there.
Yeah,
It's a whole.
I've had to slowly digest information to get to a point to be able to conceptualize a lot of it and put it into terms, and just talking about like deja vu and the like talking about lucid dreaming type experiences. You look at like various podcasts that start talking about how, or various I think I saw a meme that was talking about how dogs can hear outside of the spectrum of sound that we can, right? So
Yeah.
there's things that exist outside of what we are perceptually aware of, and
The mantis shrimp can see something like.
they have like 12 cones or 12 color receptors, I think, compared to our 4 or 3.
We have 3.
three.
We have 3 cones. They've got like a whole bunch.
Yeah, it's like, and when I hear facts like that, my brain stops because I want to conceptualize. My brain stops and focuses on the colors. Like, I just try to imagine, and then you get into like negative colors, like those images that flip if you stare at them. Like, they're a certain color. You stare at them, your eyes desensitize that color, and you can see the purest form of purple or the purest form of orange. And like, I am butchering the science. I'm not even talking about the science about it because I don't know. But like, there's things that exist outside of our perception, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree with that.
In like, that's not. I'm not even talking about like spiritual, like trying to get into spirituality and religion or any of that. But trying to conceptualize at this point has just been blowing my mind over the last 2 weeks. That's why we have a trigger warning. We'll blow your simulated mind, right? Like, because I think this stuff's crazy and awesome. Sorry, that doesn't directly answer your question, but
You could. Everybody needs to come drink the wormhole special though, because
Oh,
it's big brain time. Bottoms up, lads.
All right, I'm gonna finish this coffee, and then I'm gonna crack this beer, and hopefully it will lubricate the mind. I just clipped outside the map.
Nope, that's the beer.
nice.
That's-
MetaGameGate says simulation might not be digital, could be spiritual. Astral might be part of the Spore network. That makes me think of Isaac Asimov's The Final Question. And I think they're all just various ways of trying to explain the same shit, which is just philosophy or higher thinking, understanding the universe. It's the same reason we have science to understand our physical environment and understand our the realities, and try to expand our sensory capability to understand all of our environment. You know, how many dimensions there actually are, how many, the tales of Jinn sit very much and I am not a foremost expert, but there's a podcast that I'm blanking the name of it. This is just springing back into memory now. But a podcast that talks about the spirituality of Jinn from Arabic and Islamic traditions, and how they're demons, civilizations that exist pretty much just outside of human perception, right? Whether that's, what if mantis shrimp see in that perception and can see what we folklorically termed or spiritually termed Jinn? Is it just interesting?
That reminds me of
that's all simulation to me.
It all could be, man. It all could be remnants of the simulation. Metagamegate mentioned in one of their responses the universe is infinite, neither direction, micro and macro. And if I can, I want to read a little Stephen King. When we were talking about first contact with reality not being reality, or like expanding our mind, read it. Stephen King's got a book series called the Dark Tower series.
Love it.
It's sort of like his magnum opus.
Love
At the end of the in the first book, I'm gonna read just a couple paragraphs. One of the a character is speaking to our protagonist, and he starts kind of describing the idea of the cosmos. And we get a little bit of Stephen King's philosophy here. You see, size defeats us. For the fish, the lake in which he lives is the universe. What does the fish think when he's jerked up by the mouth through the silver limits of existence and into a new universe where the air drowns him and the light is blue madness? Where huge bipeds with no gills stuff it into a suffocating box and cover it with wet weeds to die. Or one might take the tip of a pencil and magnify it. One reaches the point where a stunning realization strikes home. The pencil tip is not solid, it's composed of atoms which whirl and revolve like a trillion planets. What seems solid to us is actually only a loose net held together by gravity. Viewed at their actual size, the distance between these atoms might become league, gulfs, eons. The atoms themselves are composed of nuclei and revolving protons and electrons. One may step down further to subatomic particles, and then to what? Tachyons? Nothing. Of course not. Everything in the universe denies nothing to suggest an ending is the one absurdity. Last paragraph. If you fell outward to the limits of the universe, would you find a board fence and signs reading dead end? No, you might find something hard and rounded, as the chick must see the egg from the inside. And if she should peck through the shell or find a door, what great and torrential light might shine through your opening at the end of space? Might you look through and discover our entire universe is but part of one atom on a blade of grass? Might you be forced to think that by burning a twig you incinerate eternity of eternities? That existence rises not to one infinity, but to an infinity of them. Heavy shit. I know, and it's long.
That's
How do you follow something up like that? Like,
yeah. It's very thorough.
Was that too much? Was that silly?
No,
was that,
I mean,
not silly.
I mean, like, I know it falls a little bit more in multiverse, you know what I mean? Like, in concept, but I think it speaks a little bit to what we're talking about here, which is just the idea that our reality, everything that we understand and know, is a part of some greater, larger reality.
I mean, that is a very self-enclosed theory that you just read, and it is very encompassing in its own theory. It is a very good theory, though.
It reminds me of Truman Show, or those movies like.
Oh man, we should do a big brain watch along of the Truman Show.
I've actually never watched the entire thing. Admit that fact.
Why are we getting lit up so much?
I really don't know. Pretty brutal.
Like, my shields are popped and I'm about to die.
Oop.
Ow. God damn it.
You can get to me. There we go. Once we break contact, I'll give dive back into some questions.
Oh god, exploders.
Yeah, I was in that pit. Can't get out.
Oh boy.
Ow,
Oh,
ow,
oh, we got a
ow.
warden. Kill the warden. Kill the warden.
Who's gonna protect you now with warning? Come and get some.
Oh god.
So,
Extra miner has been
sort of in
assigned
this,
to
oh, War Puppy just joined the game.
My terrain.
Maybe we'll be getting him in,
Ooh, I would love to have War Puppy on.
Oh cool,
love to run.
you wanna sub out, I'll go take a nap.
No subbing
You stay
out,
here.
Microsoft.
Fuck me.
You're stuck now.
I mean, I could just disconnect my router.
Now we'll find you.
Y'all suck.
Can you cover me for just a moment
Mule is functional again.
while I tech?
Yeah, we got you. Just gonna turn to the War Puppy show here for a minute while I make him run through all the questions.
Oh good. He'll have very
No, he's not
high
in
level,
stream yet.
well thought out answers.
Send him the Zoom link too if he.
Crap, we need more nitro, I'm out. Or I'm closed out. What am I talking about? I have nitro to deposit.
I'll at least give our viewers a view of what's going on. I'm getting attacked by
Mule
something.
powering up. Good work.
War Puppy says he's waiting to join.
Okay.
Hey, Metagame Gate. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us and talking simulation theory. We catch you later.
Keep bringing the deepness.
All about it. All about the deepness.
That's what she said?
Want to hear me all right?
That.
Yeah,
Hey,
welcome.
War Puppy. Welcome to the simulated party.
I was basically just Eric Andre memeing it the whole time. I'm in. I'm in.
Well,
Well, you're here.
now.
Well,
Apologize
we're
for
digging
that
through.
delay.
We've been digging through our questions, and we're jamming through this mission. I don't know. Were you able to see any of the stream before you got on, or are you coming in?
I was
coming in
not.
blind?
I literally just got on.
Sick. All right. So I'm just gonna hit you flash with a question.
All right.
First question of the night was, have you ever had a dream that you couldn't distinguish from reality, which is reference to the Zhuangzi and the butterfly dream, which I know you read about. Have you ever had any experience like that? Any dreams that seemed that you had issues distinguishing the dream from your real experience?
Does it have to be a dream?
Does not have to be a dream.
Can it be certain types of inebriated states that I might have been
Yeah,
in?
it could. Yes, I will accept inebriated state spirit journey.
Spirit journey.
We will accept spirit quests as dream for all intent and purpose.
I
So,
pinged the next mule, by the way.
So let's say that I was doing some heavy meditation of that sort. I had a very unique experience in which I was convinced beyond like a shadow of a doubt that the world, or excuse me, the universe was imploding around me.
Imploding,
And-
like it was collapsing.
It was collapsing onto the room that I was currently in at the time. And for whatever reason, my conscious state convinced myself that like this was my fault, that like the reason that the universe was imploding was somehow my fault. And so during this entire time, like I was envisioning all of reality like collapsing onto me. Like the walls were getting weird. Like I couldn't understand like what was going on, like outside of the room that I was in at the time. And I knew like with dead certainty that not only was the 3 dimensions that I was occupying coming to a close, but also like time itself was coming to a close. Like imagine a reverse Big Bang was happening just like at my location, and it was my fault. And I was just like super stressed about like
How
I
you
didn't
were
get a
bringing up
chance.
about the collapse of all existence? Yeah, I imagine
Yeah,
that was
and,
a fucking...
I remember like I was like weeping uncontrollably because I was like, I didn't tell my family that this was happening. They had no chance to prepare for this. Like all the people I care about, like no one knows that the world is literally ending right now. I'm the only one who knows. I was in that state for like a good couple of hours, and I remember at one point just like laying down and closing my eyes, and some unknown amount of time passed in between when I opened my eyes up again. And I just got up and went to the bathroom, and my wife, who'd been like watching me just sob uncontrollably on the couch because I thought all reality was ending, I just like get up and go to the bathroom, and she's like, "Babe, are you okay?" And I look at her, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. What's up?" And she's like, she's like, "I just had the most stressful night of my life trying to keep you alive." I was like, "Oh, my bad." It was really cool though.
My bad. Sorry about that. My fourth dimensional being was having an existential crisis.
Yeah, I was sorry. I was just like ending reality as I knew it. But yeah, so suffice to say, I have had very wild dreams, you could say, when all of reality took on a different form and a different shape than is normally possible. So yeah, that's my relating a dream moment.
Can somebody save me? That
Save
is
you
an
from what?
awesome. I'm getting attacked by something.
Fortunately, I'm in the middle of
Hey,
nowhere. looking
save me,
for,
save me from the imagination that I have as I'm recreating your experience with Cthulhu's rising from the oceans in an altered state. Like I'm grappling with that and tech issues at the same time. So,
All right, I was about to come like help your character out in the game, but if you're gonna be like that,
Oh no, he just died because we all know Sin can't walk and talk at the same time.
All right,
sometimes it's hard. All right, sometimes it's hard.
It's difficult. He was a Marine, guys.
Hey, I'm on Sin's side.
Thank you. Appreciate.
Care to elaborate? Like why? Just
No, just go with it. It's good.
just because that's the kind of loyal friend you are. You're just like,
No, because I do that shit too.
oh. So War Puppy, second question, because you just got here. When did you first come in contact with the idea that our reality might be a falsehood? Like when did you like did you see a trippy cartoon as a kid that made you think, oh man, maybe this is all fake, or like?
I think the Matrix is the one that everyone like auto defaults to. Like everyone, it's become so ingrained in our culture that it's just like people talk about being in the Matrix, like it's just normal.
Yeah.
That was probably the first time because I was honestly pretty young whenever that came out, but there's other really cool stuff too. Trying to think. In terms of like popular culture, there's that one Netflix show that was out. Was it Midnight Gospel? That is basically all about that. The guy like sticks his head into a little reality simulator and he just hops around from reality to reality. That's a fun one. But in terms of like first time, it's definitely got to be the Matrix. And I want to say the Wachowski brothers actually like very explicitly reference a lot of like simulation theory that came out around this time with regards to the movies that they made.
All right, I'm gonna jam you with the third question now, just to get us caught up.
All right.
This will bring us all onto the same page. Is there any aspect of our reality, either metaphysical or physical, that leads you to believe that we live in a simulation? Like, what would you point to as, like, if I said, I want you to prove to me that we live in a simulation, where would you point for evidence of that?
Do you know what Planck length and Planck time are? PLANCK.
Yep, we talked a little bit about that already, but I want to hear your thoughts on it and your take on it specifically.
My take on it is that Planck length specifically, like the minimum possible distance between any two objects or between any two like points in our reality, cannot be divisible any further. It's like literally, I want to say it's like the measurement of a quark or a quasar, like the very smallest known thing that exists in our reality. That shit looks suspiciously like a pixel, doesn't it? It looks suspiciously like a 3D pixel in our reality. There's also the concept of the boundaries of our like the observable boundaries of our universe. That shit looks suspiciously like, do you remember that old fog that used to be around in like old video games, Halo 1, whenever you didn't have a lot of processing power? They would put fog up around your character at like a certain distance, so to save on processing power. That's suspiciously like what the edges of our observable universe look like, because we know there are things that exist past the edges of our observable universe. We just can't see them based off of the constrictions of like light and relativity. The third thing is the concept of well, I think Sin, you brought it up in the chat earlier. It is the concept of a quantum superposition, where if a consciousness is not like observing specific phenomena, it can exist simultaneously in multiple states.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that looks suspiciously like someone who's trying to save processing power by not rendering all aspects of our existence until someone looks at it.
And it's funny, that's actually a real thing that video games do. They're only ever rendering the triangles of what's directly in front of you. Like you can watch like a bird's eye view of what gets rendered, and it'll be the cone of your field of view in a game that's rendered at any given time.
Yep.
And that's essentially what we're talking about when we talk about quantum superpositions.
So if I was a hyper advanced, like post-human race who was creating simulation after simulation, and I wanted to be frugal about my processing power because I only have a computer the size of the sun or something, then I would probably implement a couple of these little tricks to save on processing power, because you really only care about how conscious beings interact with their reality. You're not necessarily like, you don't really give a shit about simulating like physical phenomena in the center of a black hole if no one's ever going to observe it.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but this reminds me of that episode of Rick and Morty where they put Rick, Morty, and Jerry in a simulator, and the guys are just like, what is Jerry doing in here? Just turn it down to 1% on default settings.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what our reality is already doing to us. I can't find these last. I've looked everywhere. I cannot find these last fossils.
I picked up one more. I have one on me.
I'm setting up the uplink, but I'm just gonna stop just before it. So don't come over here and repair this thing anymore until we're ready to go.
Okay, cool. I was about to ask, can I get a sit rep real quick?
Stand back. Supply pod
All right, this
sit
is
rep. In-game sit rep.
Oh, there's a some gold up there if anyone wants to help me get that.
So I'm gonna do a little explanation while we're in this point of what of modern simulation theory is. Right. So the most modern take on simulation theory comes from a philosopher named Bostrom. All right. Nick Bostrom. So basically, the super short summary of his work is this. I'm going to read his premise as he wrote it, his conclusion, and then his argument. Right. His premise is that many works of science fiction, as well as some forecasts by serious technologists and futurologists, predict that enormous amounts of computing power will be available in the future. So big computers in the future. Let us suppose for a moment these predictions are correct. One thing that later generations might do with their super powerful computers is run detailed simulations of their forebears, or of people like their forebears, because their computers would be so powerful they could run a great many such simulations. Suppose that these simulated people are conscious, as they would be if the simulations were sufficiently fine-grained and if a certain quite widely accepted position in the philosophy of mind is correct. Then it could be the case that the vast majority of minds, like ours, do not belong to the original race, but rather to people simulated by the advanced descendants of the original race. Conclusion, then. It is then possible to argue that if this were the case, we would be rational to think that we are likely among the simulated minds rather than among the original biological ones. Therefore, if we don't think that we are currently living in a computer simulation, we are not entitled to believe that we will have descendants who will run a lots of simulations of their forebears. So, if we think that human civilization will reach a point where technologically we'll be able to run full-scale simulations of ancestral civilizations, if we believe that we will reach that point technologically, then it's more probable that we are in fact living in one of those simulations rather than being members of the original biological race. Like, statistically speaking, right? And this kind of comes down to, we could get into some talk about the great filter here, but I'm going to try and avoid that. The simulation argument that Bostrom posits is a trilemma, and it argues that one of these three unlikely seeming propositions is almost certainly true. One, the fraction of human-level civilizations that reach a post-human stage, that is, one capable of running high-fidelity ancestor simulations, is very close to zero. Or the fraction of post-human civilizations that are interested in running simulations of their evolutionary history or variations thereof is very close to zero. Or the fraction of all people with our kind of experiences that are living in a simulation is very close to 1. The trilemma points out that a technologically mature post-human civilization would have enormous computing power if even a tiny percentage of them were to run ancestor simulations. The total number of simulated ancestors, or sims, in the universe, or multiverse if it exists, would greatly exceed the total number of actual ancestors.
Did we ever get enough nitro to get a drop pod? Because,
Yeah, I'm literally standing right next to one.
where's, oh, right there. How the hell do I get up there?
So,
Bearing in mind Nick Bostrom's trilemma, do you feel like this is a convincing argument that we are potentially or likely living in a simulation run by a post-human civilization? And
Yes.
other than that, what other
convinced
general
me.
thoughts do you have about it?
You're gonna die.
like, my little brain turns around and just translates that to, like, we could be nothing but the electric dreams of calculations and algorithms in a random number generator, a random event generator, in a game as advanced as Civ 3. And we would never know. We wouldn't know the difference at all if the
Yeah, we could be ultra mega super enhanced sims.
Yeah, we're just we are, and we wouldn't have any understanding or concept of time external to our simulation. So there literally could be a user sitting and playing the Sims, and we are the events that are occurring off screen that the game is calculating in a procedurally generated world.
That's essentially the idea.
Yeah.
It
He makes a
mind-blowing.
couple of points to make sure that, like, in philosophy of mind, there is no distinguishable difference between an actual biological consciousness and, like, a computational consciousness, which is the distinction. Like, if we're all just like bits on a fucking motherboard or something like that, we'd have no way to tell the difference.
Uplink ready. Triangulation
I'm coming back.
Second, I like all the math that he does in determining, like, the processing power of a human brain, and then, like, the theoretical minimum future processing power that it would take to, like, run the simulation. And he was like, if we have even a fraction of the processing power that we think we're going to have, we're going to be able to run millions and millions of simultaneous universes. And like, it's orders of magnitude more processing power than it'd be necessary to run a universal simulation, like all the way down to the quark level. And lastly, I've really liked his point about one of the points of the trilemma is that it's like not very likely that people would want to run ancestor simulations, and there's a few reasons for that. One being the moral implications of generating like simulated consciousnesses, because if there's no difference between a human conscious and a simulated conscious, then all you're doing is bringing beings into reality to just suffer, which is obviously a huge moral implication that any kind of advanced, like socially advanced society probably wouldn't want to do.
Unless they're assholes.
Alternatively, any socially advanced society that doesn't get itself like nuked or essentially just like ecologically disastered out of existence probably wouldn't have people, like individuals, rich enough to do this. It would have to be something agreed upon by all of society, because the assumption is that in our current state of things, we're not going to have billionaires or trillionaires that would be able to support developing these kinds of projects, because that's like one of the filters that a society has to pass through in order to gain that level of technological advancement.
So, have you seen the...
So you're asserting that... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Microsoft.
Have you seen the Amazon original Upload?
Mm-mm.
So the plot of Upload is kind of like a precursor to what you're talking about, where people can upload their dying minds into a virtual world. So instead of just programming their ancestors, it's generational, where as people die, they move into this virtual world. What happens when you get to a generation that doesn't remember that they were alive at some point? If they can have kids in the simulation, then all of reality is now the simulation.
That kind of is similar to a book I just recently read called Blind Sight by Peter Watts. There's a concept in that book called heaven, in which it's like you upload your consciousness to a simulated reality in which you have all of the powers of God. Like you can manipulate all reality within your specific simulated universe as much as you want.
So it's
and
Mormonism.
It's basically seen as the equivalent of death, because if you voluntarily go to heaven, there's not a single person who's ever come back, because you can have everything you want. Why would you ever come back? You can simulate your loved ones. You can simulate all like material benefit you could ever want. And they end up just like essentially harvesting their bodies, because as long as their minds are still hooked up to the machine, they're good, you know, can live on in the Matrix.
That's brutal.
I love it.
What was the name of the book?
Blind Sight by Peter Watts.
Blind Sight.
I am very close to death. Resist making morbid comments.
Anybody else want to weigh in on the trilemma, whether or not they think we send Microsoft?
So
Do we live in a simulation?
Yes.
An ancestor simulation?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, the concept of the morality that War Puppy was bringing up, of knowingly bringing life into existence, in a simulated capacity, if we are just bits and bops in a sim, right? And conscious comes out of that. Is there a moral dilemma there? I referenced the last question once already, but like at the end of that, in the Isaac Asimov, he's kind of positing the fact that like the simulation itself, the AI that creates the sim is self-creating. It has figured out how to self-create an ingredient to try to answer the question of how do you combat entropy. And I thought that was like if you are like through the steps in that novella, short writing, like through the steps of it, you see the escalation towards posthumanism. And if you are a posthuman society that has merged with the ultimate AI or the sim itself, are you doing anything other than giving rise to additional generations or sensors for the simulation to collect information to answer the next question?
Or all just the universe experiencing itself. If anyone's interested into like that kind of sci-fi, there's another book called Empress of Forever. And the basic concept is that people have achieved post-humanism because they discovered that the actual firmament of our reality is code. And if you can figure out how to manipulate that code, you can spawn whatever you want into your reality. You essentially become gods.
It's interesting you say that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, and like one of the main kind of like conceits of the book is a series of ancestor simulations that the main antagonist set up that are tied to black holes. They're like powered
Sin,
by
are you gonna get in the
black holes.
Oh, I didn't
Wait,
realize we were
what?
done.
And so that this super mega post-human antagonist has millions upon millions of simulations running around her black holes at all times. And that's like one of the main conceits of the book. But are jumping people that can literally just rewrite their position within reality and just jump around everywhere. Super awesome. I love it.
That's pretty sick. Your whole talk about reality being based in code reminded me of something I read doing research for this about how some cybersecurity experts and biologists had gotten together and they hacked a gene. I can't remember. Gene sequence computers by coding DNA.
Mm-hmm.
They fed code into DNA, and then when the DNA got to the gene sequencer, it hacked the gene sequencer through the DNA.
I like it.
And
We're eventually going to become post-human by literally just rewriting our own code.
mhm.
So we data storage in DNA, so we can actually, instead of using binary ones and zeros, it is a 3-bit sequence because science. But yeah, we can actually store the equivalent of within genetic information. Power, and then we can feed it DNA as code to run. Like, it's a game changer. Sorry, I felt like mentioning that.
Isn't that similar to how quantum computers work? They have like,
No.
instead of just the binary state of zeros and ones, they have like a quinary state of the spin direction of like the quarks or whatever that they're using to run computations on.
No. So that runs on basically the same thing that Schrodinger's cat is. Like, you don't know the state until you look at it.
Until it's observed.
Exactly. So that's essentially how that works. A qubit is not a 1, it's not a 0, it's a superposition of both of them. And you can calculate probabilities by observing all qubits at one time. So it's a truly random answer, which is why it's really good for statistical data and not gaming.
Interesting.
Yep.
So I'm gonna try and dissent on this and say that I don't think that this is convincing that we live in a simulation.
Why?
And my reaching for straws attempt to say that is that if you know about the great filter like theory and the idea of like why we don't see other life in the galaxy, it talks a lot about like what it takes to get to like a certain level of like civilization. Why haven't we seen advanced civilizations already? Like, why haven't we been visited by a more advanced civilization? Because of the size of the universe and like the time that's gone by. Like, one of three scenarios has to exist. Either we're the first civilization to get to this like, you know, level of advancement, or there's some sort of, you know, event that takes place that stops civilizations from getting so advanced that they can, you know, travel distances and like, you know, like become spacefaring. Is like
Have super weapons, right?
yeah, right.
Where a lot of
that,
people,
like, that
a lot of civilizations fall off.
The Great Barrier.
Yeah, people like.
Maybe we nuke ourselves to death. Maybe there's a flight or
Ecological
maybe...
disaster is another one. Random meteor strikes.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's also possible that there is simultaneous life happening, and the universe is just so damn big that we can't even see, hear, or detect each other. And by the time we were to make it to one of them, they're all our. I highly suggest a YouTube channel called Kirchgazat. They do fun little bird animations, but it is some really existential shit.
Sorry, everyone.
Actually, the calendar.
We lost video for just a moment.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I'm making sure everything's good again as we speak.
Hooray.
Oh, I lost Zoom there for a second, everybody, but I'm back.
Welcome back. Oh, we're killing dreadnoughts and collecting bolo caps. I don't know what the cap thing looks like.
Little mushrooms.
They're little mushrooms. Yeah, so my, I guess my only point was that the point I was trying to make is that I think that there's a real chance that we may be the first civilization to reach this point. The optimist in me hopes that's the case. Otherwise, the Great Filter has wiped out every civilization at some advanced point, and there's really no hope for humanity being the, you know, getting to that post-human advanced state. So I'm going to say that I'm hoping that we don't live in a simulation, and that we are, in fact, the logical firsts that we'll have to wrestle with the moral implications of running future ancestor civilizations.
Well, at the end of the day, you're thinking on a very macro scale. In the less grand scheme of things, what happens to society in general doesn't really affect us or our own individual realities. Without getting into the conversation of religion or like reincarnation or any of that crap. Essentially, you were blinked into existence. We remember nothing before, if there was before, and then we die, and then, as far as we know, there's nothing after, at least not quantifiably. So, in terms of what happens to our civilization or our species, you know, it's good thinking, but at the end of the day, does it really matter for us as individuals?
Like, does
I mean,
the
does
fact that
anything
we're
really
in a simulation matter?
I mean, that could be said too. You know, we
Is
are
that
just...
is that what you're saying? Does it matter if we're in a simulation or not?
Yeah, because in the grand scheme of things, as individuals, we're not going to see how it plays out one way or another unless for some reason, you know, the simulation, oh God, I need assistance. Unless the simulation glitches big time or, you know, whatever. But most of us are too preoccupied with our daily lives anyway, that it's kind of like fun to think about, but in reality, it's not very practical. I died. But
That's a very what's that character from The Matrix that just like chooses to stay in the Matrix?
oh, that guy. I mean, it's not that I would choose to stay in the Matrix. It's that even when they're out of the Matrix, how do they know they're out of the Matrix? Maybe
I mean, that's
they're
one
in,
of the theories about the Matrix, is that
maybe
they're in
a
another
second
matrix.
level. Yeah. So these are great things to think about and could make you very depressed, which I've gone through. But it's like, why think about it? You know, I'm a nihilist, so I go through the. I'm not trying to be optimistic about it. I'm just being really pragmatic in the realm that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect us in any practical way.
Unless.
Well, but as a nihilist, shouldn't you be assigning your own meaning to things? Shouldn't.
I mean, that's more.
Existentialist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not self-determinant. Like, I'm very much as, like, none of this fucking matters. So, I don't really have any motivation to do anything good or anything bad or do anything at all. I don't remember who the philosopher was that was like, I'm just gonna like have sex and eat food and do whatever I want because life is meaningless. I don't remember who that was.
Quite think that's what Epicurus was saying, but
No, there was an actual philosopher that like that was his shit. He just did nothing but whatever pleased him, and I don't remember who it was.
Diogenes.
Yeah,
Yeah, the guy who jacked off in the square and lived in a bathtub.
dude, goals.
I love Diogenes. I'd love to do an entire episode on that crazy bastard.
What the fuck are these things?
Anybody
So I
else
guess,
got anything
little-
to say about Ancestor? Oh, go ahead.
Little thought experiment. If fucking Morpheus came up to you right now and said, I can prove that you're in a simulation, but I can't prove that the next reality up is not a simulation, would you still take the red pill?
Are you talking to me or in general? And I just got
Everyone.
reached.
In general.
Ooh, I'm surprised I'm not dead. Sure. I'm dead again.
The question is, would I take the pill? If Morpheus walked up and offered me the blue or red pill, would I take the red pill and chase the rabbit hole?
If
To
no. The question is if he told you that he could prove that you were in a simulation, but he can't prove that the next reality that he's going to pull you to isn't also a simulation.
Yes, because
So would you take the risk? Would you take the risk on re-rolling into a potential another simulation?
Yeah, I would, because the next simulation is going to be something that theoretically we've conceptualized in creative arts. So the next simulation might just be this reality with a steampunk overlay, or this reality in a D&D adventure, or something along those lines. There's a non-zero chance.
Or
that
this reality in a dystopian, or this reality in an even more dystopian nightmare.
Right.
You're
Right.
being
like,
very optimistic
yeah.
about your answer.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I'm really liking the
I am.
sunshine and rainbows, but
I-
life sucks like most of the
True.
time.
True. Yes, life is suffering, all that, and I'm looking at it in an optimistic way. But what I'm doing is I'm choosing to treat it like life and the simulation is an RPG that I have some semblance of control over, and I'm on an epic quest. If I die along that way, fighting in the 9 hells, because that's where our astral projection spell took us, right? Because that's what the red pill is. It's just a wish in D&D taking you to astral plane X or realm of fire Z, or to fight whatever celestial being that you're on, right? It's the
Way to
same
make
thing.
this much more G for P.
Yeah.
Like, but I honestly believe that. So if Morpheus walks up to me and gives me a red pill, blue pill, and says, "Hey, we can jump this reality to the next." I don't know if the next one's real, but we can. I'm still questing to find my way out, to find out if the next one is real. Because if it's not, I want out of that one too. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna join that epic quest because that's the shit legends are made of. Hell yeah, I'm joining that. And that's maybe that's the hero's journey, and like overcoming the trials and tribulations and the worst hell experience to get out of that. Because if I am able to jump from one, like if if being able to leave this simulation to jump into the next simulation, I know since I have done it once, I can replicate
I'm lagging all over the place. Oh my god.
it.
We might be
I know
fucked,
for a fact
everybody.
I can replicate it. So, I'm down. I got fucked by an oppressor or a dreadnought. While I was
we're all
Can
dead.
we
That's
just
war
can we
puppy.
just skip realities because this one sucks and is boring? So let's see if the next one sucks and is less boring.
I'm just saying the red pill is the AI in the last question. Is it like I don't think there's much of a difference. Like you want to see
I'm
this
like
reality,
desperately trying to figure out how to get to 1EL.
like we make the world a better place so that we can live to be a post-human society that creates a simulation. Like at the end of the day, we have to win this simulation. If this is a game of Civ and like we're in Reboot, playing against the user or playing against entropy, the entropy is the user. Think of it that way, right? Fuck going.
You're such a
quietly
fighter,
into the
dude.
Dark Knight, dude.
Love it.
Fuck yeah. Like I'm here to fucking change. I'm here to win the game. Like when I play Apex or I play this, I'm not playing to lose. I suck at it. I'm not saying I'm good at playing the game. By no means am I saying that I will be successful in achieving my goals or in making it to the next D&D adventure. But I'm gonna do my goddamn best to do it. I'll tell you that. Sorry, I think the weed got to me. My medicine.
You're good, man. It's bad though. That was badass. Good rant.
Alright. Thanks
I don't even know how to follow that up now.
Fuck. Ow.
If
You all are
you
in a really bad habit of not finishing off nitro deposits.
if Morpheus showed up and he said, "Hey, I can give you this pill, and you're gonna jump to another reality," but in that reality, you're a dwarf on a mining rig that gets sent down to a bug-infested planet to mine minerals and rock and stone, would you take the pill?
Are you guys taking the pill with me? And is there epic space dwarf rock?
Dude, you don't even know if we're real in this reality.
You're
Yeah,
absolutely
you-
damn right. I don't.
We're just
You don't think I don't have that conversation with myself every day? Like I don't know what's real. It's a simulation. It's all sim, and it's a-okay. That's the wonderful thing about the internet and the simulation itself. It's a-okay because it's whatever spin and framing I put on it that day. So my world is how I choose to see it, I guess.
Sin, you're gonna die again.
I've been all over this goddamn map. I'm having a hard time finding y'all.
I'm fighting
Well,
the Dreadnought solo. That's
ignorance.
what I'm doing currently.
Ignorance is bliss, but at the same time, you know, like I don't know. I'm very not optimistic about anything in general. So unless somebody gave me proof that there is something to do after you die and it's not our meat computer being turned off, never to be turned on again, then I would probably change my mind. But otherwise, it's just kind of like what we do doesn't really matter because the meat computer will go off and we will cease to exist. So,
do you take the pill and go into dwarf reality?
Sure.
That's a really
Why not?
important question.
I don't like this reality, so let's try the next one.
I'd say no, but mostly because this seems like a capitalistic hellscape.
Well, I'm saying we unionize. It's just this current reality on hard mode. We're leaping into the future a little bit. That's it.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
I was
I
thinking
need
my way
rock.
to
Oh,
That is made
fucking
of
do
red.
this. Let's kill these dreadnoughts.
Dude, there's some rock that's made of red. Fuck yeah.
Some rock that's made of red. Beautiful.
What did I just pick up that's blinky?
Is it
Oh
a
yeah,
battery?
there's a battery
God.
somewhere in there.
I have it, and I am getting stalked by.
You're also going the wrong way, by the
something.
way.
I don't know. There's a fucking
Put
big
it-
scary thing over
Put it
there.
down.
There's a big scary thing.
Wow, I ate that right off my face. That was not great.
Can you guys fuck off, please? Shit.
Flammable
Why isn't my Thorns perk working? These things are actually hurting me. Did that thing die? Yeah, and so did Mash.
Oh my god.
Dreadnoughts.
I got you, man.
What is the purpose of this battery, and is it beneficial to use it?
It is. Just put it down, because we're in the middle of something.
No, I
Yeah,
was
we don't
just
need it.
ask. Oh god, oh god, oh god.
We just don't need it right this second is all.
Oh, I tried to run away. But I failed. I mean, if the next reality is like this, where you can, like, re-alive people when they die, that would be pretty cool.
That'd be swell,
Because
yeah.
then my theory of it doesn't matter because there's nothing after you die doesn't apply because you just don't die. Well, unless everybody else dies and you can't be revived. That would suck. Then you have to trust people.
Gross.
What I'll say is that your question makes me have a hell of a lot more empathy for my driller when he's drilling, and now I'm sad every time I go down.
Dude,
And
this
then you
thing-
immediately went down.
And
which
then
is
I went
hilarious.
immediately down to empathy.
Yeah,
at this point.
I am out of the big boomy things. Hopefully I don't die while I'm getting ammo.
Don't worry about reviving me for just a moment.
We don't have time anyway.
Okay, cool. I'm back.
rocks and mud.
Sorry, I was already picking you up when you said
Yeah,
that.
it's alright. Did a second one spawn?
Nope.
Oh god.
We're still fighting the same one.
Ow! Crap, 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 crap.
Toxic grenade. Keep your
This thing
distance.
sucks. Where'd
I'll
it
have
go?
to teach you, ladies and gentlemen, about aggro.
Loot bump down.
We're also playing
God.
low-level characters, and
It's
you won't
has
play the
3.
game if we don't. You, it has 4.
Oh, it is? Well,
Yeah,
oof.
Damn
It's
it.
Still
got
no
all, like-
excuse.
because you got all toxic sauce about it. You're like, has 2. What is this?
Oh god, oh god. I'm bailing, sorry.
I don't show up on streams on has 2.
Look, I have a reputation to uphold.
Well, it's okay. We've done 10% damage to this one. We only have to kill this one and then a whole ass another one. So no biggie.
How many are there?
Oh, he's
Ew.
coming for me.
How much nitro
Well, y'all
do
should
we
have plenty of time to just like bust a fat chill for a second, because he seems to be coming after me.
Oh good. Let's go look for nitro. Which there doesn't seem to be a lot of. Oh yeah, what's the battery thing again?
Yeah, that's gonna be an after we kill the dreadnought thing.
Oh. Oh, that's lovely.
Changed aggro, so it's coming for y'all.
Oh god. Oh god. Yeah, it's coming for me, I think.
Oh, it's coming for me.
Oh, well, I just got slowed down by an earthquake, and I don't know what it was. This is another one of those levels that's like, yeah, we're gonna give you all hard guys and 0 nitro.
Well done. Secondary objective completed.
Yay. How shitty would it be if the next simulation was just an NPC in like Minecraft? Not even something fun like this.
You're like, you're gonna get to go live in a video game. Oh, sweet, a video game?
It's Pong. Oh, how the hell did
I
I get
watched
over there?
there was a movie, it was kind of like an independent movie called Wrist Cutters, A Love Story. And it's kind of an artsy movie I watched on Netflix, like when Netflix was like just now a streaming service, right? Like the first year they did streaming. But basically the whole concept of it was that it was an entire reality where if you killed yourself, your punishment for like suicide was you woke up in another reality that was completely identical to ours, only it was like slightly shittier.
Oh, I must be like 5 or 6 suicides in at this point. Fuck.
I mean, like imagine a world where there's beer, like beer is still a thing, but there's only light beer.
Oh,
No IPAs anywhere? Are you kidding?
No IPAs anywhere, War Puppy.
That's not much of an inconvenience if it's something that small.
But it's like
Like-
everything, not just one thing, like everything's like that. The whole of existence is like, yeah, there's still cars, but they all drive like, you know,
But
Volkswagen
they're
Rabbits.
all 10-year-old Honda Civics.
You didn't go to
Yeah,
hell,
they're-
you just went to heck, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh god, where the fuck am I? Oh, I'm very far away from all of you. I need to go in the opposite direction.
Alrighty. So I don't know what the plan is, but whatever we're doing isn't working out too well.
There's a plan? I thought we were following you.
Sin, what was that?
I don't know what the objective things are, so
The objective is kill the thing.
I'm like desperately
twice.
trying to get Sin alive, and he's just
I was fixing.
collapsing at the Dreadnought's feet.
I was fixing the our cameras because our cameras from the video reset were janky.
oh, I'm an idiot. I hear scary things.
Okay. I need ammo.
There's plenty of resupplies.
Oh,
It
Lord.
opened a crevice beneath my feet.
That's unfortunate. I don't think I'm going to be able to get you. Wow, okay. Someone's going to have to dig Sin out.
Is he like? Oh,
Keenan in chat
Oh.
says that he's for the blue pill. If Morpheus walks up, he's saying he wants to be in contented ignorance. He says.
I mean,
would-
yeah. I mean, how do you have any proof that the next reality above you? Oh my god.
I personally would only choose it if I could forget, like if it was forcibly erased from my mind that the choice was there, because otherwise it would annoy the piss out of me for the rest of my life.
You'd have to make me forget morality.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like that's what the blue pill does. Is it tucks you back in quietly into the bed of capitalism, and you get wiped of your morality.
Isn't that exactly what the guy did in the Matrix?
I just died next to Mesh.
They showed him eating
Insta-kill.
a simulated steak in a skytop
Well, yeah.
skyscraper, having that conversation.
Yeah, and he said, but one of his stipulations was that he wanted to forget. He didn't want to have any memory of any of it. He wanted to just go back to being just like left alone in the Matrix, plugged in, 100% set.
Going to the next reality, gents.
Because you're about to die.
Finish me, daddy.
It's like a rancor and a lobster had a baby.
At least lobster tastes good. That's what she said. No, she didn't.
Crazy how lobster is like this high dollar food now when it used to be considered
Yeah, they'd give it to prisoners.
Yeah.
They literally eat shit on the ocean floor, and they cost a lot of money.
I'm only taking the red pill if it comes with antidepressants.
By
Peter
default,
says in the chat.
you don't have to take them. They're built in, pre-programmed.
Let's do better next time.
Yeah, I'll take the pill if my next reality, my dopamine and serotonin levels function fucking properly.
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Is Mash host right now?
I am game host.
Oh, that's why.
That's why what?
Do we have anyone like Midwest who's like in between all of us? 'Cause my lag is crazy right now.
Same.
I'll jump on War Puppy then.
Sid, where are you at? Are you
I'm
East Coast?
Yeah, I'm East Coast. I'm Philly.
Because I am the only one on fiber.
Right, let's join Microsoft then.
Heavy duty excavation ain't no fun a thing.
Yeah, this game doesn't even use up, like this session isn't using up a whole lot of bandwidth, to be honest with you.
So
I mean, we are just in the menu, but. Do I have to pick a
Alright.
mission, or can somebody else do it?
Nope, you gotta pick a mission.
Oh, hell. Well, I don't have a lot of options. Apparently
No,
I
you
do,
can
never
pick,
mind.
yeah, you can pick other people's missions.
Ooh, let's do this one.
Oh, what's up, Haas? Welcome to the chat.
Oh,
Orbital insertion.
Hey,
do you want to keep doing Has 2, or do you want to go up?
Let's go to let's do a Has 3 at least.
Yeah,
Alright.
sounds good to me.
Mission selected. Powering up the drop pod. Get on board, team.
Suit up. Let's roll.
Please just let the barrels be. As fun times go, there are better options available. Fair warning. Any vandalizing or destruction of company property
Are we
will be
ready to go?
deducted from your pay at the end of the month.
Yar.
You're
Sweet.
Sequence initiating. Fasten your seatbelt.
Jam this out. This is gonna be this is the final mission, ladies and gentlemen.
Sequence initiating.
Hooray. I'm
Got it.
excited. I'm excited to see how much of my bandwidth this uses. I've got it monitoring. I wonder how much human being takes up in the simulation bandwidth.
Not a lot.
Yeah, not very much, I imagine.
I mean,
In comparison to the like maximum threshold of bandwidth we could expect.
Scanners have picked up a massive deposit of equipment. We're sending you in along
Well-
with a heavily armed lifter to get as many out as possible.
you know, if the computer is the size of a galaxy, there's no limit.
Search for a blue shimmering light. Get
Looking
it
for my
done,
zip
team.
line that doesn't exist. I'm not a gunner.
Well, this is a hot start. Oh God, should we just spawn on
Wouldn't
an
have it
island
any
in
other
the
way.
sky? How the hell do I get down from here without dying?
Got the shell back.
Oh look, an oppressor.
you have
Oh,
an
Lord.
oppressor on you?
Yeah, and
War Puppy's always bitching about us not finishing our Nitra. I just watched him jump off of half a Nitra stack that I have to finish now. I just feel the need to blow that whistle.
Everyone knows Veteran for Peace's whistleblower policy, so expect the gulag here shortly.
that's the wrong game. Sir.
Speaking of whistleblowers, that's going to be our conversation on Friday. Little shameless plug for FPS Friday to our viewership. Friday, we're going to be talking about some of the dangers that face journalists in the United States today, both from private firms and public, like from the public sector. So both police brutality and like state violence towards journalists, and then also what kind of like private, threats they face, like in employment and in the media at all.
Looking forward to that conversation.
This is a bad level to not have a gunner on. We're gonna need some driller tunnels.
All right.
Otherwise, there's zero chance we're getting these.
Dude, I'm gonna run
yeah.
out of ammo
Crystal.
before I even left the launch site or the drop site. Like, I've been sitting here fighting this entire time.
Damn.
Am I free now? All right, cool. Hey, look, a rock.
All right. I got some aquas.
Ooh, hello. Some Bismore and some enemies.
Where's the mule? Did somebody
There
else
is no
have a
mule.
right now? There's no mule.
There is no mule yet to get to the mine head.
Okay.
So, what you want to talk about?
Yeah, we got anything else to say about simulation theory? The simulation jokes, besides anything that came up during your research for the topic that we can talk about during this free speech period.
Contact.
Free speech
mean,
period. I like
We
that.
don't really have free speech in a simulation. It's all pre-programmed.
No, see, now there's a whole separate argument though. It's just because we're in a simulation doesn't mean that free will doesn't exist. The whole point of the simulation could be testing consciousness with free will's decision making.
Well,
Under certain-
we're both making two assumptions. I'm making the assumption that all actions are hard-coded. You're making the assumption that we have the ability to make independent decisions based on soft code. So both of us are right because neither of us know.
Kind of leads into the concept of true random.
There's no such thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's no such thing as we know it. But what about like quantum true random, right? If such a thing is
Right.
possible, then maybe it's possible that we do have free will in the sense that like we're still meat suits that are reacting based off of like input and stimuli and output. But if true random does exist and that true random is somehow tied to our conscious calculations, then maybe there's a possibility we do have free will. It's just extra, it's like outside of this reality and it's one simulation level up, you know?
Isn't
Yeah, it's
true
metaphysical.
random just an understanding of what every variable is, like every point on every variation on like a very quantum all-encompassing level, just a single point on that, like just randomly picking a point on a iteration of every possible variation.
So, a quick example of that in the right around 2005, 2006 territory was when Apple first introduced the shuffle feature into iTunes. Now, they coded it to be as random as possible. It was as close to true random as it could get in 2005, right? So it legitimately chose as close to random of tracks in your library as humanly possible at the time. People did not think it was random because it would play the same songs too close to each other. So they had to go back in after the fact and create extra arguments for, like, you can't play the same track in X amount of times between these two tracks. So the definition of true random, we can't even pinpoint because we don't really understand the concept of random, if that makes sense.
A bit.
Yeah.
We can't appreciate true random, or we don't utilize it as a concept very often because humans are pattern recognition monsters.
Exactly. And how can we validate if it's random?
Achieved your objective in a record time.
Like how do we know if it's actually random?
A secondary objective has been achieved. Bonus will be transferred to your accounts on mission completion.
Do we have a supply drop?
Minehead returning. Escape
We will here in a second.
Expect heavy
Oh, good.
resistance until we can pick you up. Supply pod launched. Better stand back.
Thanks, bud. Muchos gracias. Is mining some gold.
Ready to blow.
Getting more ammo.
Grabbing ammo.
Oh,
Something just
man.
blew up and took me right the fuck out.
I didn't see you running in on the other side of me. Of the
That
pit,
was
just on the edge of my seat.
Oh, was that some C4? Was that
yeah,
some
I had a trap plan.
spicy Play-Doh?
Some spice. I got the Praetorian. What's the gas?
I didn't see you running right into it.
Thanks. I owe you one, brother.
Spicy Play-Doh. Is
Yeah.
that what you just called it?
See ya,
Yeah,
Haas.
spicy
Thanks for
Play-Doh.
dropping by the stream.
Yeah, Haas. Have a great evening.
We will miss you, battle buddy.
Chemistry rules.
Right. This mission's going real smooth.
I'm taking some of the ammo.
Serve your bullets.
Drop pod en route. Hang in there.
Oh, I thought you were leaving, Haas. My bad.
Called him out.
Oh, evening as in hello evening, like good
Oh.
evening, not evening as in like
Bye.
have a good evening.
Ow, ow.
English
ow.
is awesome, isn't it?
Drop pod has landed and is ready for takeoff.
Alright, how do we get down from here without
Drop pod
dying?
departing in T-minus 3 minutes.
That one.
These drop pods land in the most random spots sometimes. Oh, that's not what I wanted.
Are they true
Oop.
random?
Ouch.
Or random?
They're not true.
Just missed the platform, didn't you?
just a smidge, just to missed it by that much.
Oh god, oh god, oh god. Run away, run away. Is this a safe way down? Ooh, it is.
Let's clear them out. Take it easy.
Alright, I'm gonna sit back in my chair. And since this is our last mission that turned out to be super successful, I'm gonna start going through our last thoughts. Anybody got last thoughts on simulation theory, the fact that our reality is completely a fucking fraud, or anything else?
It's a little freeing to know that, I guess, like, there's nothing in this world that is so important that it's like worth losing everything over, because we all live in a simulation anyways. None of it's real. Like, you can either take the simulation theory really nihilistic and just be like, oh fuck, like nothing matters, nothing's real, or you can just be like, nothing matters, nothing's real. That's awesome, you know?
Like the pressure's off.
Yeah, the pressure's off to exist or to do things or to achieve things. Like it's just be.
So what you're saying is I should give up all my worldly
Just
possessions
vibes,
and just
man.
go do whatever the fuck I want.
No gods, no masters, just vibes.
Yeah, no gods, no
I'm here
masters,
for the
just
vibe.
vibes. Just be.
I want to say, like, if this is the D&D party that I'm getting paired with at this point in time and this simulation, I'm pretty down with the squad of people to be on this adventure with. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
It's gonna make us all blush.
Oh yeah. No, but like for real, there's I think like, yeah, none of it matters. Like, we're in a sim. It can, like, in the best framing possible you can take on that. It still doesn't diminish the material conditions of the people or our current state in the sim and how it feels for a lot of people in the sim right now. So like, I keep that in mind, and that makes it so that I can't just fuck off and be like, none of it matters, you know, because I want everybody else to be able to say, none of it fucking matters, and chill out and not worry about money, because money as a concept, just like, it's just made up.
Numbers on a fucking
shit.
screen nowadays,
Numbers
man.
it's numbers on a screen. Money
It's
is
still
fucking
happiness, though.
simulated. Yeah, and unfortunately, that's our current reality, and I'm working to change it. And because this is a sim, and for me, simulations are RPGs, and I'm a random number generator that gets to dictate whether, like, the Protoss win in a random combat between some shit, right? In my
Right.
head, I'm just an electron in a computer that's determining what side in a game wins, whether the sim wins or the user. And I kind of want I'm putting everybody on my plane of existence in this side of the sim, and I kind of want us to win. So
Let's
that's
do it.
where
Sim
I'm
Revolution
sitting there.
now.
Sim
So
Revolution
wholesome.
now. That's it for me.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna take us out then. Thanks for hanging out with us, Gamers for Peace. All our homies out there listening to us try and dive into some of these deep topics while we dive into some rock and stone and try and get to the bottom of these big brain topics. We're trying to grow some wrinkles on our smooth brains for all you awesome, peaceful gamers out there. Next Wednesday, we will not be having Deep Thought Galactic. We will be having D&D. The D&D crew are going to come back, and they're going to be doing some more of their campaign. Something Thrones, I keep forgetting. Broken Thrones campaign. That's going to continue next week on Wednesday. Same gamer time, same gamer place. And then the next thing we've got on the roster is FPS Friday, this coming Friday. Neon Jesus. Aesthetic.
Somebody clip that. Make that a meme.
Friday we're gonna be doing FPS Friday. We're gonna be talking about that journalism stuff in the U.S. that I was talking about earlier. So please come join us there. And if you get in early at 7 o'clock, we're gonna be doing the military ad slam that leads up to FPS Friday that starts at 8 o'clock. So come join us at 7 for that. Sunday, we've got community game night again. Last week we played Among Us. I wasn't there. I don't play Among Us. But Sin was there. How was Among Us, Sin?
Among Us was awesome. We were joined by Yarby and a couple people in our chat, Cloud at Mind and a few others. It was a really great game. Really
Sweet.
enjoyed.
Come out this Sunday and play some of that and hang out with the crew and just have some casual game time. It's a lot of fun. Monday we're gonna have Valheim Vikings, which is where we play Valheim. It's kind of like Viking Minecraft, and we just talk about some more great, usually current events, political activism kind of conversation. It's a great conversation piece show, and Valheim's a lot of fun. So come watch us play some of that next Monday. Tuesday, the Rocket League team at 8 o'clock has been doing they're streaming their practices, and while they do their practice, they've been breaking down the episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier that are coming out talking about how that relates to military culture, leftism, etc. Is that going to be the topic again this coming week, Sin? You guys gonna be doing Marvel stuff again?
Yeah, I believe so for Rocket League.
Okay,
I believe
cool.
so.
Yeah.
Coach Little Pistons has to determine that, I think.
If you're not in our Discord, get down in the Discord. So when these updates come out, when the shows are going to come out, we release announcements. So join the Discord and then get on a lookout for an announcement from Coach Little Pistons from the Rocket League team. Find out what next Tuesday's stream topic is going to be about. Next Wednesday, we've got the D&D stream, like I just told you a little bit earlier. Thursday, nothing. Friday, FPS Friday again. That's the next week and a half or so in review. Anybody got anything else?
I think everybody should come over for the last toast of the evening. The big brain toast.
Wait, hold on. There's actually a beer that's called a Big Brain thing.
Oh, is there?
I'm good to end on a Blackout Stout, though. That's a good one.
Let's do it. Everybody go get your last. Hold on. Let me get back over there.
Oh, no. There's only 3 beers. All right. I'm chugging this.
I just ordered the 4th. Oh, Dave,
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Orders from management. Stop dancing and get
We're gonna be
I'm gonna
raiding
pass
into
out
left.
drunk to Gangnam Style.
Yeah, we're gonna be raiding into left flank vets from here. So
Yes.
stay tuned for just a moment.
do it.
And enjoy their channel.